This is the Seahawkers Podcast, episode 340. I'm Brandon Schultz of the Military Seahawkers, and joining me, my good buddy and Montana Seahawker, Adam Emmert.
Dude, it's an honor to be here with you today, Brandon. I mean, with all the offseason work that you've put in, being 5 pounds lighter and maybe the quickest tongue you've ever had in your career right now, like, it's amazing. I love that this training camp that we can be together when you are going to have a breakout podcasting year.
I'm ready for the breakout podcasting year. I think it's the LaCroix that I've switched to, that polar stuff that just, that's for losers. And
you think so, huh? Whatever.
We're going to start our sparkling water battle right off the show here.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're a Pepsi guy, which is another flaw in judgment. So you can keep your LaCroix, and I'll drink polars like a real man.
Right off the start, we're going to get emails now. I used to love the Seahawkers podcast until Adam crapped all over LaCroix, and now I'm not going to listen anymore.
Yeah, that's probably going to happen. I mean, about the same amount of people will leave the show as when we declared waffles the clear king over pancakes.
We even got some emails about the Seans that we missed last week on the Mount Rushmore of Seans.
Of Seans? Oh, no.
We'll get to it.
I didn't realize I missed my Seans. Although I didn't do any Sean research going into that podcast. I'm not going to lie.
We were going cold in with the Seans.
Yeah.
And but
that's as many Seans as I got off the top of my head.
I think we whiffed on some big ones. But we can get into some Seahawks news because we're a week into training camp, Adam. You pretty much recapped what the entire first week of news is. It's this guy's lighter, he's faster, he's super explosive. I feel like we always get these guys who are particularly hyped going into the new year. And I'm curious of who's on your radar as the most hyped Seahawk now through the first couple weeks.
I'd say Rashad Penny's got to be up there.
Penny's up there?
Yeah, I'd probably just go with Penny.
Just go with Penny?
And yeah, they're trying to increase his trade value.
Gerald Everett, one for me.
Okay.
I feel like Darrell Taylor's gotten hype all offseason just because we haven't seen him.
Yeah.
And he got some rookie minicamp hype because he was out there with the rookies. Everybody's talking about how explosive he is. So Gerald Everett, to me, though, is the most hyped.
Oh, I mean, there's a bunch of them. I mean, shoot, I've even seen an article entitled something along the lines of Trey Flowers positioned for breakout year.
Okay.
Marquise Blair.
I could understand Blair. Well, I suppose I could understand Flowers too, because he hasn't broken out. So it would be the year 2 breakout with the way things are set up at corner for the Seahawks. And you heard from Coach Norton this past week that they're in no real hurry to name any starters or anything like that. And I guess
because they haven't traded for the one yet.
You think Xavier Howard is going to be the one that they trade for, or Stephon Gilmore?
I would guess Howard. Well, I don't know. Only because we've traded for corners from the Patriots before. Like Bill and Schneider, like they talk.
I think Gilmore seems like the more likely option just because I think with Howard, I think he's just trying to get more money.
Instead of getting out?
Yeah, I don't think he really wants out. This is how you get paid in the NFL now. You talk about, I want out. And then a couple of weeks later, you're getting a big check. And it's like, okay, well, things are cool now.
Yeah, maybe true. I don't know. That's why they're hyping up Rashad Penny, is so that he can be the cornerstone of a trade for one of those guys.
Yeah, he's 5 pounds lighter. He's super quick on his feet. I want a good year from Penny, though. I would like Penny to stay and have a full, healthy season just to see what we have.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it would benefit the team and it would benefit him personally. Being in a contract year with his 5th year option not picked up, it'd be really good for his deal if he had one of those breakout kind of years. I would love to see that.
That's what I want.
And not only that, he's been bad long enough to where I can legitimately say that I was right about him coming out of the draft. And if he turns it around now, then like it's just gravy.
Yeah. Okay.
So then I'd get the best of both worlds. I get to be right, and then he gets to be good.
Yeah. There you go.
And it's all about me.
And it's all about you.
What I need.
Well, it's been about Jamal Adams for the first week of training camp, with him holding out, but not really, but kind of injured and recovering from his offseason injuries, but probably not, most likely because of his contract. And there's probably going to be a contract getting done, but it's still that question of where does Jamal Adams come in with his contract once it gets done?
He'll come in, obviously, when the contract's done, but well,
he's there. He'll start practicing once the contract's done. Yeah.
Right. If you're Jamal Adams, don't you just kind of hold out with some unreasonable demands until training camp's over? And then, you know what I'm saying? You're going to cave, you're going to take the deal, right? But you're like, I'd rather not practice.
Yeah.
So if I just sit here and not agree to the deal, I can stand on the sidelines, say all the right things. Everything's fine. It's not drama. But then I don't have to be out on the field.
Yeah, I feel like right around the week of preseason game number 2 is kind of the sweet spot for the deadline for that deal. Mm-hmm. So right about mid-August, I think.
That feels right. I think you're onto something there. That's usually when those things get cleared up. Although I guess we can get into it in the second half of the show, but I guess Aaron, he finally came home to Green Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got that taken care of.
That's what I mean. And who complained more this offseason than Aaron Rodgers, or who was more cagey about contract talks than him this offseason? And no, he's going back to Green Bay. It's fine.
Yeah. Some people might argue Russ,
Well, I think this is setting it up for next year to be the year that he really goes for the more money.
Russ?
Yeah.
Or Rodgers?
Both.
Probably both.
This would have been too early, I think, for Russ to even be considered for any kind of change in his contract, where I think next offseason he can be in position to make something happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this is going to be a big year for Pete, and has this team kind of plateaued. I saw Danny O'Neill from 710.
Right.
He was talking about that on one of his shows. Has Pete just kind of plateaued, or has he outlived his shelf life here, or, is there more greatness to come? Can he bring him back to the mountaintop? And I think this is a good year to kind of have a little bit of an evaluation of that, because kind of that second rebuild is more or less complete.
Once things got torn down with the LOB era, and you do start that, they've had some struggles though with the draft. You would have thought that draft year where Shaquille and they got 3 new members of the secondary with Lano Hill, but none of those guys, outside of Griffin, panned out, and then he ended up leaving the team. So that draft did not go the way I think the organization would have wanted in terms of having that ability to rebuild. But now you've got Jamal, you've held over Bobby into this era, and you have Jordan Brooks at linebacker too. You're starting to build kind of a young core on the defensive line. And really, the defense is the side of the ball that you only need to be average. It's the offense with Russ and DK and Tyler, and then that young tight end group that you hope can put the offense in the upper part of the NFL to make the team competitive.
Oh, you bet. I mean, that's kind of the overarching thought process when it comes to this team this year. But that offense is going to have to do it without Eskridge for at least a little while. I mean, that gets worrying right out of the gate. I mean, do we have young Tony Dorsett now?
Philip Dorsett.
Yeah. That's what happened last year with Philip Dorsett.
See, I think so many Seahawks fans are falling into this trap, though, of, this is just like Philip Dorsett because he had a foot thing, and now Eskridge has a foot thing, and they're both fast dudes at wide receiver. We don't know if it's the same thing at all.
No, we don't know anything. There's no timetable. There's not much information put out there. I guess that's why it's easy to, kind of fear for the worst here.
Well, it's easy to be frustrated considering so many top picks for Seattle. Darrell Taylor last year never ended up playing. And gosh, it just
Malik McDowell did what he did.
Rashad Penny.
Yeah. I mean, now Eskridge, right? And it's like, good Lord.
Yeah. Can we just have one of our top draft picks be healthy to start the season for once?
Yeah. and play a rookie year?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
I feel like that's not asking a lot.
No. Well, I guess Brooks played all year last year.
I think he was injured to start the season, though.
Might have been.
Yeah. See, there's another one.
Yeah.
Or he didn't get going until later on in the year.
Right. Who let CJ Prosise touch all the top rookies?
It's Prosise's fault.
Yeah.
You know, it might even be C-Mike.
You think?
I don't know. Does it go back that far?
I have no idea. I just like to blame CJ Prosise, the human chandelier.
It's too bad. I want to go back to Jamal Adams. One of the things that I thought was interesting from Coach Norton in a press conference this past week, that we're going to see more balance from Jamal Adams. He's not just a blitzer. He's going to be out there covering dudes. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if the defensive line comes together as we all kind of hope and expect it to, with all of the additions made there this offseason. Then no, you don't need Jamal Adams, wrecking his body, going full throttle at the quarterback every other play, right? You can reserve that for those big spots and those big moments, and allow him to be a playmaker on the perimeter. So in theory, that sounds great. Now, if the pass rush struggles out of the gate, how much of that balance do you think you're going to see?
Oh, no, they're going to find a way to get a pass rush if they have to use Jamal or, find another way.
Absolutely.
And that's a good piece of versatility to have with a guy like Adams. And that's probably why he's going to end up getting paid what he ends up getting paid. Do you think that he gets more? Okay, we just saw Fred Warner get more than Bobby for linebacker. Now, Adams does play safety and not linebacker, but you could almost make the case that it's kind of a linebacker type role that he plays. Do you think he comes in at more than Bobby?
It's in range. I mean, you could honestly tell me that he'd make more than anybody but the top quarterbacks, and I'd believe you. Like, I mean, that's the type of value he has because of the trade that was made for him. I mean, they're going to pay him just about anything.
So, guy like Jalen Ramsey getting 20 per year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would you question that at all?
I would question it only in terms of, you made this deal by trading all these draft picks for an extremely talented young player who could be a culture changer, no doubt about it. But it does put you behind the eight ball. So now you do have to pay him corner-like money when it all comes down to it. And yeah, so it'd make you wonder about the team building aspect of it and the long-term implications of that. But in the short term, okay, I get a guy who can, play well in the secondary, is a ball hawk, and then can also rush a passer like one of the top edge defenders in the league and play in the box as a linebacker. Okay. Yeah. 20 million. Sure. Sounds good.
Once you do start getting up to that amount of money, you start wondering, does it really matter? Because I think for most of us, if he were to come in with a number like 17 million a year, we go, oh, okay. That sounds about right.
Sure.
And the difference between 17 and 20, and it's like, okay, well, that's what, a backup, less than a backup corner, like, because Witherspoon came in at 4. So you're telling me you're going to not be able to have extra depth at corner, but yet you did that to have Jamal Adams long term. It seems trivial to really argue about all that much difference when it comes to paying your top guys. It's not, and at this point too, it's not like the team has so many top guys that if you keep him, there's going to be someone that you're not going to be able to make a deal with. Like a deal with DK is still going to get done next year. A deal with, who else is there that's coming up that you really wonder if they're going to be able to keep? You're able to keep your quarterback. You're able to keep your receivers. Lockett's under contract. Duane Brown, you'd be able to give him a raise still pretty easily. And he's apparently sitting out, although maybe not just because, as Pete said, he's just one of the older guys. Yeah.
No, Duane Brown does not need to be there right now. Stay home, dude.
Be he's good, there. He's on the field. He's just not practicing. Like, that's fine.
Okay. Well, even better. Even better. Like, there's no reason for Duane Brown to, even set finger on the field right now.
Yeah.
No.
Lace him up week 1, Duane, and do your
you're
thing.
Good to go. you're good. You're good. You're not, there's no technique, new technique you're going to learn in year 47, but when you talk about the Adams contract, right. And like how much is too much and all that, one thing that does work in the organization's favor this year is the cap, being a little lesser than what would have been projected maybe even 2-3 years ago because of the COVID stuff. And so you might be able to get him for a hair cheaper than you would have if the cap had continued to go up. And then also, too, the cap is about to explode, right? So you're getting to negotiating a down cap year and then knowing that the cap is going to explode the next 3-4 years. I mean, whatever deal he signs this year could look like it's a bargain basement, dirt cheap deal in 3 years.
Yeah. And I don't think the way that COVID played into the contracts matters too much this year, just because he was already under contract with his 5th-year deal. And generally the Seahawks, if you're set to make that amount of money, he's going to make it up in bonus money when he signs the new contract. And he's going to have the long-term, guarantee of, at least with a couple of years of injury guarantee in the contract. So that ended up working out to both their benefit, just with the way that with the way his 5th-year option worked out.
Sure. But I guess what I was getting at is, say it hadn't have been a COVID year and the cap had gone up like it had been.
Oh,
right?
Then he would be saying, yeah, that's right.
Then he would be asking for more money because there's going to be some other player at his position that got paid. Like there's always those 2 contracts a year at every position where you're like, holy crap, they're paying him how much? And now it sets the market. And so then Adams is going to be like, oh, no, I want that.
Right.
Whereas you didn't have that this year. You didn't have anybody at the safety position setting the market and really, bumping that up a lot more that you then have to top, right?
The only guy that I can really think of at any position is Trent Williams for the 49ers, where he's getting $20 million a year as a left tackle.
Yeah.
And Dwayne's not going to get that because he's a few years older.
And who knows exactly what it is that he's looking for, too. We'll see. They're going to take care of Duane Brown. We know that.
Oh, yeah. I just want a competent left tackle for as long as we can have him.
Yeah, man. For as long as he's good, I'm good with Duane. You know what I mean? Give the man what he wants.
Well, the Seahawks wanted a new backup quarterback, but apparently not to compete with Geno Smith. They signed Sean Mannion, and they cut Danny Etling, who then went to the Vikings, where Seattle got Sean Mannion from.
Where in the pantheon of Sean's does Sean Mannion fall?
Maybe one of the greatest Seans on the Seahawks right now.
Yeah, he might be the best Sean on the Seahawks.
He's my favorite Sean on the Seahawks right now.
I see. So is he like on a 10-day contract, or did they like sign him for a year, but it's a 10-day contract? Like, I just want to know how many days over 10 days you think Sean Mannion's going to be on the team.
Maybe. Yeah, you don't see him sticking around unless the practice squad rules are so weird this year that he gets to stick around, because the Seahawks never keep 3 QBs.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they got Magoo back. Magoo is probably going to be more of the practice squad type guy that gets you through as the emergency guy, just in case something happens to Geno for whatever reason.
Yeah, scout team stuff, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That Sean Mannion story, I was like, okay, cool, hooray. He'll be on the team for a cup of coffee and eat. Was Sean Mannion one of the Vikings quarterbacks that got into COVID protocols and all that here just recently?
I think they got into COVID protocol because they were all close contacts of
Kirk Cousins.
Was it Kirk Cousins that got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all close contacts.
Because Cousins wasn't going to do the vaccine. He'd made that pretty clear.
Yeah. Well, there's only one dude for the Seahawks.
Oh, really? Who?
Coach Carroll said. No, they haven't said. It's just they said 90 out of 91. And Coach Carroll said that one of them had a really personal type issue, but he didn't elaborate. But made it sound like he had a really good reason. Yeah.
Well, maybe it does. I don't know. It doesn't much matter, right? Like, this is probably a good segue into something we missed on the last show, kind of the overall COVID stuff that we heard with the policies with the NFL this year.
Right.
I found it to be really interesting.
It is interesting. It was also interesting, the comments that Bobby made, because I think most people's reaction was, wow, 90 of 91. That's really remarkable that you would hit that many. And really, I think there's only maybe, I don't know, a third of the league. And that's even with the NFL announcing all of the penalties that go along with not being vaccinated. And Bobby made it sound like really it's not that big of a deal because of the policies that the NFL put in place. It kind of put the players in the position to where they're saying, well, shoot, we kind of have to do this.
Oh, yeah. When you could be putting your team at a competitive disadvantage by not getting the vaccine. I mean, you've heard the coaches talk about it, right? I mean, geez, you heard Zimmer talk about it just the other day. Well, all the players that were smart enough to get vaccinated, right? There's all these shots being taken by the front office and the coaches and everything, right?
Yeah.
And the pressure has to be enormous on the players and, put the team before yourself and all that. Now, from the players' perspective, I do understand the idea of your body is your living, and a new, quickly produced vaccine. Are you excited to put that in your moneymaker, basically, right?
Right.
Like that's a big deal for them. I mean, think about how much they scrutinize everything that they put into their body, down to just the small nutrients and things like that. So I can see the concern. I just found it interesting that the NFL decided to paint the players into the corner by threatening not just their money if they were unvaccinated player, but the money of all of their other teammates by saying, oh, if you end up not being able to play that game, y'all ain't getting paid.
Oh, that surprised you?
Yeah, a little bit, actually.
No, that was not surprising to me at all, because can you imagine that with the plan to fill stadiums this year, even as things may be starting to ramp back up going into the season, that the idea of the NFL having to cancel a game potentially because a team can't field enough players to be out there, that would cost the NFL a lot of money.
Yeah, it would cost them a ton of money.
So that's not surprising to me.
Maybe surprising was the wrong word, but it was just like, wow, okay. They're not dicking around here.
Yeah.
You get two in the arm, get it done for the team. And gosh, Pete had a phrase for it too. A two-shot team guy. Are you going to be a two-shot team guy?
Two-shot team guy? I don't think I heard that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I when he said that, I was like, wow, there's going to be a lot of pressure on these players to do the vaccine. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's just interesting. I mean, to see how a private business like the NFL goes about dealing with the vaccine and what kind of choices they allow people to make in public writ large, and how different people have different stances on the whole thing. And like, there's such a certainty by people who are either pro-vax or anti-vax that it's their way or the freaking highway. And I thought it would end up being a bigger stink in the NFL than it has been.
There's been a little bit of a stink.
Yeah, a little bit. I thought it would be a lot larger. Okay. I figured you'd have about half the league being like, you're not the catfish. You are making me do this.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to be the case.
And I think part of that is because then they're being perceived as not being team guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's when Pete said that you're going to be a two-shot team guy. Like, wow, that's some peer pressure right there, from head coach.
Arians too. Arians was, I think, has been more harsh with his words than any other coach that I've seen.
Oh, really? I haven't got his comments.
I don't have him off the top of my head, but I know that he was like, if you're playing on my team, you're getting it.
Right. Yeah.
Which is interesting with Brady, because I don't know. I guess I don't know what his stance is on it, but in terms of guys who you think about all the work that they do to make sure that they know what's going into their body, Brady's one of the guys that I think of immediately.
Yeah, is kind of the top of that pyramid. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. And the other thing that I find interesting is how guarded players are about talking about whether or not they have gotten the vaccine. I think that's really weird. Because I just don't think it's that big of a deal. Yeah. Like, for example, I have gotten the vaccine. You know what? I know a bunch of people who have not gotten the vaccine.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's all okay. You can make whatever decision you want for whatever reasons you want.
Just own it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're more comfortable taking the risk of what the virus can and can't do to you, which is a reasonable position, then cool, you do that. I decided for me, it made sense to do the vaccine thing. I just don't understand why players act like, well, I guess it's probably because it's been so politicized, right?
Right.
Like, oh, you got the vaccine. You're a flaming lib. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine. Well, you must, wrap yourself in a Trump blanket when you go to sleep every night, right? Like that's how it's framed somehow. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, political stances that get attached to it one way or another, and that was why I thought that the Bobby Wagner comments were so interesting, because he was kind of in the same camp too. Of he's saying, well, I don't really think it's anybody's business of whether or not who got vaccinated and who didn't. I don't know why that would be the thing that you would choose to be that personal of a decision, I guess.
I think it just has to do with politics and, trying to sell jerseys.
Maybe.
I mean, just think about how many, I run into it all the time. I take a knee. I'm done with the NFL. I'm not watching it. He was pro-vaccination. I'm done with those guys. It's like, what difference does it make? Just watch football. Like, who cares what they think about any political stance?
Well, to me, it goes again to the idea of what's going to help us have a football season this year.
There you go.
The more people that are vaccinated, the more likely we're going to have football this season. And so that's a good thing to me. I want football.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you want to have a season, you bet. Be a 2-shot team guy.
I want a season.
Yeah, I want a season. I want football, man.
Well, a couple people that have their season in question related to the Seahawks, but not Seahawks. Carson Wentz and Quentin Nelson both out for the Colts through the first few weeks of the season, looking like. Wentz had foot surgery, and looks like Nelson may have to have a similar type of foot surgery. And man, that's a big hit for the Colts.
It's a huge hit for the Colts. And maybe, I said I was really excited to see what happened with Wentz this year. Most everybody that disagreed with me are like, yeah, he's never even going to be on the field, so you're not going to see crap. And they might just be right. He might just be a walking injury.
Jacob Eason, the University of Washington quarterback, who is next in line behind Carson Wentz.
Yeah, well, he's going to do an awesome job holding the clipboard for Nick Foles.
Nick Foles, I think he wants out of Chicago.
Yeah.
And can you blame him? Isn't he like the fourth quarterback in Chicago right now?
Anybody who's not Justin Fields, you're just not going to play.
Yeah.
So, get out.
Well, Andy Dalton has to start week 1 because they guaranteed the starting job to him. And then Justin Fields will probably take over in the second half of that game.
There you go. Yeah. It'll be something along those lines. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, of course, Nick Foles wants out. And he had a good run with Frank Reich. Are they just going to collect all of the former Philadelphia Eagles QBs?
Yeah. They'll probably have Jalen Hurts before too long, right?
Well, that wouldn't be collecting Philadelphia quarterbacks, though, because he's not a quarterback.
Yeah, it doesn't count. Very good.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Man, I like Jalen Hurts, too.
He's a great dude. He's a great dude. He's just not a quarterback.
I would really like him as... I think he'll be a fine backup quarterback. I do. Like a leader in the locker room type dude, and a guy who can fill in a pinch. And I don't know, maybe I was already surprised at what he did in Philly last year, so maybe he'll come out and surprise me again this year.
I sincerely doubt it.
It is Know Your Rivals season for our show, Adam, and we did the Rams last week. I want to get into the 49ers this week.
Okay.
I really wanted to come up with another list for reasons to hate Kyle Shanahan.
Flat-brimmed hats. That's number one.
Hats.
Yeah.
Is he not a visor guy? He seems like
he might be a visor guy sometimes. He might be.
I don't know. I have a hard time hating a guy who's been such a historical loser for the 49ers. It's tough to hate him.
No, it's not. It's easy to hate him because he's on the 49ers. He's the 49ers head coach. Easy to hate. The wine and cheese tailgates, the whining fans on the hot side of the stadium that can't handle it. What else do I hate about the 49ers? Oh, yeah. Their colors are ugly.
Sure.
Like that. It's a terrible combination. Red and gold.
Kyle Shanahan has 35 regular season losses. Do you know how many wins he has?
21.
29. So you went a little bit low, but yeah, 29 and 35. For as much hype as Kyle Shanahan gets,
yeah,
you'd think you'd think that it's way better than that.
You would. But yeah, I mean, much like the entire organization, everybody thinks it's a more interesting and better place than it actually is. So yeah, that makes sense.
There are aspects of the 49ers team that are good, though. I think that they probably have the best offensive line in the division.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. I had to sit and think about it for a second, but yeah, probably.
They have a pretty good defensive line. Probably,
yeah.
You could maybe even argue, gosh, I don't know if you say second best anymore. It's probably, I don't know, just because Aaron Donald's on, I mean, you'd have to say number one, I think, for the Rams.
I'd say Niners and Rams are probably 1A, 1B. And the Seahawks could easily end up being 1C. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're all have the potential to be really, really good. And the difference between them is going to be fairly minimal.
It would be doing it in different ways because obviously with the Rams and the Niners, you have their stars with Aaron Donald and Nick Bosa. And then with Seattle, you don't have the star, but you have the rotation.
Yeah.
I hope that's how it's going to be with that Seattle defensive line. It could be really underrated. I do feel like from a national perspective, Seattle's getting overlooked in terms of what they've been able to build in terms of depth at the D-line this offseason. We'll have to see how it works out, but I think it's a promising group.
It does feel like a promising group. I actually have a lot of optimism about the defensive line this year. It's one of the things I'm most excited about seeing this year, and I think could be one of the bigger difference makers for this team, especially in the playoffs. I think it could be a huge deal. So I have my fingers crossed on that. Other reasons to hate the 49ers. Their name itself, the 49ers. It's not a number or a word. It's like some bastardization of both.
They've combined 49. Numbers and words to make their team name.
Yeah.
How do you think that plays into the impact on the field? Like, does that mess with them psychologically?
No, I think that's more being in the Bay Area. I think that screws with them more. This is making Brittany very upset because she lived in the Bay Area for a while and she hates it when I just trash that place. But it's sports hate day for the 49ers. She's just going to have to deal with it.
It is sports hate day. I cannot believe how really inappropriate it seems that a rookie like Elijah Mitchell would come into the 49ers and believe that he can take the number 49 and wear that as a running back and see snaps. One, it's a weird number for a running back. And two, being number 49 on the 49ers, come on.
Maybe he's trying to be the ultimate team guy, right?
I don't know.
So he's going to be number 49. He's just one of the team, representing the team. But I know your beef is more the number 49 at running back.
It's a bold move for a 6th round pick.
Yeah. But I mean, what else do you have? All the good numbers are probably taken.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And like this season, this is going to be a nightmare season for you, dude.
Look, the only thing the other numbers don't really bother me. It's the receivers that bother me. And that's still how it is. I don't care that Carlos Dunlap's number 8, even though it's Matt Hasselbeck's number. It's And this whole thing of, how are the quarterbacks going to know who's going to be part of the pass rush because they're looking at different numbers than they used to in the past. That seems like a weird argument to me.
If you can't tell that, then you probably aren't a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah. You go into the game studying up the team well enough to know the numbers that you have to worry about at the different positions that
right
where that wouldn't even be an issue. The weird, and I think it was Tom Brady that brought it up.
We got a slide protection to number 92 on every snap, right? Like that's what you did last year. And now 92 is wearing the number 6, let's say. When you go into the week, how hard is it to be like, oh, we're sliding protection to number 6 on every play because he's a dominant player?
It doesn't seem hard.
I just don't understand how hard that is.
No, it doesn't seem hard at all.
It's easier than figuring out how to take a snap under center.
Yeah.
Which apparently, like a lot of people talk about, like that's like solving world peace.
Is Trey Lance taking snaps under center? Because I feel like
I don't know, but he's throwing the hell out of the ball. He's throwing the hell out of the ball.
No, he had one good throw. He had one amazing throw, and that's all 49ers fans can talk about this week.
But it was an amazing throw, Brandon. It was so amazing.
So amazing.
Yeah.
He hit the guy in stride. The timing was good. It was almost like it was meant to be that play. Yeah, wild.
It's so hilarious, too, because, you know, Trey Lance has one good throw in training camp, and he's really pushing Jimmy G to be the best. How trash is Jimmy G if all the guy has to do is come in and make one good throw to push him for his job? Catfish! I'm screwed. I'm going to lose this competition. Trey can throw one.
He got it past the back end of the defense at one time, and he's already beaten Jimmy G.
Do you think Jimmy G poops himself with the practice pass rush as much as he does like a real pass rush in a real game? Do you think that happens in practice?
I don't know. I doubt it. I think there's people who are like good practice players, and then once it gets into it, then it starts to fall apart a little bit. And Jimmy strikes me as one of those guys like who just crushes it in practice.
What was it, 2 years ago where he just had like the worst week of practice ever?
He had like 5 interceptions on 5 passes or something like that. And people,
yeah.
It was,
well, I guess that's why Trey's one good throw looks so good.
Yeah. He completed.
And all he has to do is not poop himself.
Trey Lance completed 13 of 14 passes in training camp this week.
Really?
Yeah. Now they're all, passes right around the line of scrimmage, but he only missed one.
Dude, I tell you what, Trey Lance might be the best quarterback in the league at picking apart air.
Yeah. It was probably one of those days where the defense wasn't contesting passes yet either, because that just started.
Yeah.
And I know that started because defensive coordinator Ken Norton was out there saying, well, today we finally got to start. He's salty about these rules. And it's like the defense finally got to start contesting passes downfield today. Right? I love Coach Norton so much. He just is so old school.
Oh, yeah. You can just see him seething on the practice field as his defense is getting torched. The problem is that it's not that big of a difference in practice when they do start contesting the throws for people like Trey Flowers. It looks about the same.
Yeah.
What else do you hate about the 49ers? Do you hate that all of their running backs, wide receivers, are called wide receivers?
I think
that's annoying.
I think Ayuk is legit good, though.
I think he's above average. How about that?
Okay. That's high praise from you.
Yeah, that is high praise. Because I think, he's Tavon Austin plus. He's a gimmick guy, but he's got a little more size to him.
I think of that more so with Debo.
They're both gimmick guys, dude.
I think Ayuk's more of a downfield threat type guy.
Negative.
Whereas your gadgety guy is Samuel.
Absolutely not. I think they're both gadgety guys.
Ayuk has a solid first name, though. I can't fear
Brandon Ayuk taking the top off of defense? Is that something that keeps you up at night? Like if you're comparing, say, Lockett or Metcalf, who are actual receivers, like that, doesn't that like put a totally different fear into you as a defensive coordinator?
I will say that I don't know if I can fully evaluate that because they haven't had a quarterback historically that can throw the top off of the defense. So why it's not something I've had to worry about until now with Lance.
Well, I guess the only thing you have to worry about with Lance is that he does have the ability to take the top off a defense with his arm, but he only has the ability to do it sometimes. So like you go from not being able to do it at all to being able to do it like 40% of the time, maybe.
And I don't know, in terms of average NFL quarterbacks, that's probably about average. I don't know if, it's there's only so many quarterbacks in the NFL that are even like a guy like Lamar, who was the MVP of the league. Is he really among the top guys who can consistently throw deep balls? He's probably better than average, but I don't know if he's a guy that, I don't know if I think of that as being part of his game so much.
I would say that Lamar is a much more consistent thrower of the football, even coming out of college, than Lance is.
Yeah.
Lance just has these like 2 or 3 uncorkers in a row. Like he goes through these stretches where he just can't throw it in the ocean. It was the weirdest thing. He'd make like 2 or 3 like brilliant throws, and then all of a sudden he's just spraying it, like missing wide open dudes for like no reason.
But I think that's one of those things that as an NFL coach, you see the ability and you think, oh, I can fix that.
That was too much. It was watching Josh Allen in college, right? Like his misses and all that, they weren't like a total uncorker where it just like goes 90 degrees the wrong way, right? It was like, oh, that was just a little off, and his receiver didn't really do much for him there. And, the route concept was terrible. Like there was things you could look at and be like, oh, that was just, that's fixable, right? Like, sure, he missed him too, but there were other factors like involved there, and it wasn't by much. When you watch Lance, like he just goes into these spurts of just total inaccuracy. It's just missing wide open dudes with no pressure on him.
Well, I will say that 49ers fans are counting on, I hear a lot of comparisons to Josh Allen that, coming out of college, Josh Allen, the accuracy, and he was able to fix that, and he did such an amazing job last year. That's the expectations now for Trey Lance.
Yeah. So these are different animals. Like watching Josh, like I said earlier, the missed throws weren't by as much. And then also too, a lot of the missed throws had to do with decision making. So he had to become better at decision making. That's something that's coachable. And then he just had to tweak his throwing a little bit. He didn't have to fix his throwing, right?
Yeah.
Trey Lance has to fix his throwing. This isn't bad decision making that's leading to these bad incompletions. Like he's making the right read. Guy's been coached open. He's just typhooning it. Like he doesn't just blow it, he typhoons it.
It might be better though when Jimmy G just throws it to a random dude and for a pick six. Like I would rather have a guy uncork it and throw it out of bounds than turn it over to the other team for points.
Maybe. Maybe that
it doesn't even
goes
matter
right to the other team.
because the 49ers are just going to run the crap out of the football this year anyway. Their running back depth is crazy. And like I said before, they have a really solid offensive line. Lance is an outstanding runner too. This is going to be a team that just hammers the rock.
Yeah, they're going to pound it. Honestly, it'll look a lot like the offense I always wish they would have, not the Niners, but the league would have ran with Tebow.
Sure.
It's going to be the same concept.
And they had a good offensive line, a good running team at the time with Tebow. Yeah.
They're going to go all in on that, on a ground and pound attack. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be interesting.
They lose Jeff Wilson as a running back. They still have Wayne Gallman, Raheem Mostert. They draft Trey Sermon. I mentioned Elijah Mitchell, number 49. And they have Jermichael Hasty. They have Juszczyk as fullback.
Right. So Mostert and Juszczyk, right? Those are good players.
Yeah.
They're good players. The rest of those dudes, let me know when they've done something in the league.
Oh, well, 2 of them are rookies. I think Sermon's going to be good.
Do you? I don't know anything about him.
Well, he's an Oklahoma guy, so.
Oh, then he's going to be trash. You always get overhyped on the Oklahoma guys.
Yeah. He was at Oklahoma, and then he went to Ohio State.
Okay. So there's no evidence whatsoever that he's going to be good.
I have a belief.
Like I said, that's great depth of a bunch of dudes. Just guys. I mean, it's like having a bunch of Travis Homers behind Mostert and being like, ooh, look at that depth. They have 7 Travis Homers.
Why do you pick Homer when it's DJ Dallas?
Because he is the most mediocre, just whatever dude at running back you could have.
In pass pro, though, money.
Oh, man.
We've talked a lot about the offense. We've talked a little bit of the defensive line for the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
Linebacker, obviously at middle linebacker with Fred Warner. They have one of the league best.
Absolutely.
Around him, though, and on the back end of that defense, there's some questions.
Wow, that was very polite of you.
The rest of the dudes on the defense stink.
Yeah. They're garbage. They're hot garbage. They're hot.
Dre Greenlaw made one
garbage.
good play on the goal line to stop one of our backup tight ends to win them an NFC West title. And all the 49ers fans think that Greenlaw's so great.
He's fine. He's a league average guy.
Yeah.
Who's their starting secondary now? Can you rattle that off for me? I don't know.
Verrett, who they got from the Chargers, who finally put together a somewhat healthy season last year.
Yeah.
He's number 2 now. So there you go. You have to worry about the single digit guy. Dante Johnson, I think, is who they have slated as their opposite starting corner now that Sherman's gone. Oh, they got, and then they got a couple of rookies. They got a 3rd rounder, Ambry Thomas, who could be good. They got a 5th rounder. Let's call him D.
Okay. And what do they got at safety position right now?
Jimmy Ward, who's
okay.
He's good.
Yeah, he's okay.
And then you got Marcel Harris.
Who?
Yeah.
The Niners are banking a little bit on the strategy that the Seahawks are, that a defensive line makes a secondary, right?
Yeah.
We'll see if that seems to be the case.
Oh, they have Quan Williams as their other corner, who I think is more their nickel corner.
Good for that guy.
Don't disrespect K-Will.
Wait, he doesn't spell it with a Q?
Kawan?
Yeah.
K-Wan. Maybe I just pronounced it wrong.
I don't know. He should have gone with the Q, dude. You screwed it up.
I don't think that most people have a say over how to spell their name.
They do when they turn 18. You could have changed your name your entire adult life to be spelled correctly. You've had it in your hands.
I've had the chance to do it, and I've blown it.
You and K1, you should be Q1.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I should be Brandon.
Q's just cooler than K. It's just a cooler letter.
It would be cooler.
That's why, he
already
was able to be.
He's already cool because he has the apostrophe, though. Like, why do you need to go changing letters for?
Yeah, but can't you enhance the apostrophe by going Q?
It would enhance it, but I feel like at that point you're just being greedy.
That's true. All right, maybe it's he doesn't want to take away from the splendor of having an apostrophe in your first name.
Then you're just showboating. Like, you would legitimately have to be a $20 million cornerback, and then you make the switch to be like, yeah, I'm the guy in the NFL. Shut down corner, changing my K to a Q.
There you go. So this will be the most we talk about K1. Was it Alexander or Williams?
Williams.
Okay, yeah, for the rest of the year.
You don't know.
Yeah, I think I do.
Is this a chicken or the egg type argument? Like, if he makes the change to the name, then he becomes this amazing shutdown corner. And he just, by not taking that step, he's screwing it up.
Hey, he might be the next 49ers corner that flames out there because they can't coach the position and comes to the Seahawks and finds success.
Yeah. With Sherman gone, that secondary is just going to collapse.
Absolutely. I have zero doubt about that.
And plus, they don't even have flexing defensive coordinator on the sideline to hype him up anymore. They got D'Amico Ryans, who was their inside linebackers coach last year. Like, if you have the defense to where your inside linebackers coach, what's that, like 2 guys?
How many fewer shots of the defensive coordinator for the 49ers of the Bay Area will we see this
infinity? Like, because it's going to be, you can't divide by 0.
Negative infinity, like less shots of D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah.
I bet you he gets 3.
Maybe.
Because they extended the season an extra week, so he could get to 3.
He gets to, the over-under is 2.5.
Instead of 3 a possession, Is it how much better is your life now that Robert Saleh is in the AFC?
It would make the Jets watchable, probably. I mean, he's not going to have reasons to flex as much, I think, on the sidelines now that he's with the Jets?
Oh, he's going to do it. There's going to be a lot of fist pumps.
I don't know. When I think of fist pump guy, I think of Sean McVay. When I think flexing guy, I think Robert Saleh.
Gotcha. Rah, Saleh. How much are you going to hear that?
I don't think anybody does that.
Come on. Jets fans are going to lose their first 5 games, and then they're going to start chanting stuff like that. That feels like a New York chant.
Does feel like a Jets thing.
I mean, shoot, they like to show off the fact that they can spell when they chant out their team name.
Yeah, 4 letters. Great job, guys.
And they get them all in a row, too.
Nailed it.
Every time. They're excellent spellers.
Let's get to the second half of the show.
All right.
And we are back. And Adam, I think we may have to throw out a little bonus material for our members of the flock from our discussion over the break.
A little extra 49ers hate?
Yeah, just because this was such a big show. There was so much Niners hate. We just could not fit it into a regular show. The intermission, it overflowed.
Yeah, I think we might need to change the name of this segment of shows from Know Your Rivals to just Catfish them.
It's the subtext. I feel like, people see that and they've been with the show long enough to know, know your rival. Oh, that's really what they mean.
Because I feel like early on we actually tried to break down their teams and
we had guests from the teams on, and then we've been podcasting so long that those people quit podcasting and
or moved to different teams.
Yeah.
So we're
too
just
much to
like,
keep up. You know what? We know these teams well enough. We're gonna do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, and also too, then we don't have any pushback, and we can just crap all over them for the fun of it. It just feels good
and feels better this way. This is way more fun.
Yeah, and it should be more fun for the listeners too.
I hope so. This is what we do it for.
Yeah, rather than be like, Raheem Mostert is actually the 3rd most efficient running back in all the NFL, and it is primed to have a breakout performance.
Boring.
Yeah, that's what you'd hear on a Bay Area podcast.
Tell you how hopeful they are with Trey Lance. Yeah, those guys, they can't even drink beer right at games. Number 32 in the league of NFL fans who drink the most. Last in the league, San Francisco 49ers.
Is that measured in beer content?
It says
overall alcohol sales.
We surveyed football fans around the country to determine the booziest and biggest drinkers.
Okay. I guess, that wine and cheese crowd.
Could be, they came in at 2.6 per game, so that could be glasses of wine.
Yeah, that's just it. Like they're drinking the wine there at Pants Stadium.
I was wondering when you're going to get the Pants reference in.
I don't even know why anybody calls it Levi's Stadium. It's Blue Jeans Pants Stadium.
I don't know if we can talk lame with our Lumen Field now.
Hey, I mean, at least that's a cool sounding word.
Sure.
Yeah.
But number 32 in the league. This can't be wine because its average spend is $30, which is also lowest in the league. So
they're cheap too.
They're cheap and they're just not very good fans.
I think you nailed it.
And see, the Seahawks are at the bottom of this list at 28, but I feel like all of that comes in the fourth quarter. So really, I think there's a skew here that needs to be recognized.
That's a good point.
Whereas Cincinnati, Baltimore, Buffalo, Chicago, they're at the top. They start early, and there's no reason to stop.
Well, yeah, you live in one of those cities. I'd be drinking every day, all day for life. Like if I had to live in Cincinnati.
Baltimore is a little surprising to me that they'd be that high.
Really? Are you sure? Baltimore makes daddy drink too.
Yeah. I feel like I need to make an official announcement that the Texans are no longer my number 2 and that Baltimore.
Thank God.
Baltimore.
Oh my God. Thank God. Wait, you're replacing with the freaking Baltimore?
I'm replacing them with Baltimore.
God, it's just as bad. How do you suck so bad at picking a number 2 team?
Is that bad?
Yes. God, I can't stand the Ravens.
What AFC team am I going to pick?
I don't know. You could choose the Bills like a reasonable person.
And you've been with the Bills for a long time. And they're probably going to move to Austin anyway. And then you're going to be a fan of the Texans.
It fits in with your Texans. They'll be the Austin Bills. They'll be in Texas. It'll be an easy move for you.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of Texas.
Oh, okay. Well, you're one of the few. Seems like everybody and their dog's moving to Texas.
I don't know. I've always
Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, their dogs.
I feel like I've always had a little bit of like for the Ravens for whatever reason. So
you have. It's gross.
I don't know where I can't. How do you decide? It just happens.
Well, I don't know. Happen better. Like that's just
maybe it's a quarterback
terrible
thing because really the Texans for me it was about Deshaun and now I can't be a huge.
It was JJ. It was well before Deshaun that you were on the Texans high chair. Well, you were shopping it up.
You were shopping it up. Shopping it up. I was probably more of a JJ Watt guy, which started at first and then
shopping it up.
Come on now.
How long do you roll with Lamar? Another season and a half before he breaks his body, and then who are you on to?
Well, at least if it's an injury thing, I can take that. With Deshaun, that's something that I don't. That's not even a talent thing with what he's going through.
Well, he had a talent at something, just happened to be illegal. It sounds like.
And then they've just been a disaster anyway. They trade one of my favorite wide receivers to the Cardinals, which
What did you choose? Like, I don't know.
We can go down the list and I could tell you all the reasons why it's a terrible idea. I guess maybe the Colts would be one that I could maybe get with.
There you go. That would be a solid choice. Or the Chiefs even.
No, then
before they were winning Super Bowls, that would have been a good one.
I still have a little bit of AFC West hatred though for the Chiefs. The only one I don't have any the only team I don't have.
Go with the Chargers.
That's the only team. I have no lingering hatred for the Chargers. Now they're an LA team.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that they're an LA team now. If they were still a San Diego team, that
I'd
would
be on board.
An easy number 2.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just not Baltimore.
Titans, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
I'm rolling with the Ravens as my number 2 for now.
Gross. That's disgusting.
And I like it a little bit that you dislike it so much.
Yeah. Well, at least you didn't choose the Dolphins.
Yeah, I couldn't choose them.
Yeah, good. Well, at least you have some sense to you.
At least the Ravens fans, they know how to drink.
That's true.
Not only are they at 4.7 per game, but the average spend is only 45. And at the top of the list, Chargers at 60. That looks like it's the top. 58 for Chicago.
So what I get out of this is cheap booze in Baltimore.
There you go.
But then you have to be in Baltimore.
Yeah. And they put the Seahawks in the biggest lightweight drinkers column because according to the survey, Seahawks fans said that their drinking habits caused them to miss at least part or all of the game due to drinking. But to me, I see that as I'm getting up as the fourth quarter nears to get my drinks, and that's when I miss part of the game. And so that's how I report out on the survey.
Yeah, I don't think it's like, oh, my Stars have had one beer. I must go lie down while the Seahawks could bring it to the last 2 minutes in a neck and neck game. I can't handle it.
Yeah, it's, oh gosh, it's getting so stressful. I need to step away right now. And that's when you miss a little bit of the action.
Yeah, like 30 seconds for your own sanity. Otherwise, your heart's going to explode.
Yeah, this survey is screwed up.
This seems like a survey problem.
It is.
Yeah.
We don't have any problems with our members of the flock, though, other than that we didn't have any new members of the flock this week. But other than that, things are going great.
That's one of the rare off-season weeks we've gone without any new little flockers.
I think people are waiting for us to start up our Pick'em League and put that announcement out there. Because that's when people go, oh, yes, it's time for football now. I need to make sure that I become a member of the flock because that's how we give away awesome prizes. It's really the people who are part of the flock that help, allow us to make so many prizes available.
Absolutely. And so the oh so important question and bane of your existence, Brandon, what site are we doing Pick'em on this year? Because this is one of those subjects that no matter what you do, somebody's not happy. Easy choice this year. I checked CBS Sports. All of the people that joined up last year are still in there.
The link that I set up last year to go to the site, to join the site, still works. We are rolling with CBS Sports for year number 2.
All right. Because of expediency.
Yeah, I don't have to do anything. It's already there.
I applaud it. I think that's a genius move by you.
I may change it, though, because last year we did the tiebreaker was the first person in with their picks. I may change it to the Monday night game score.
I like that. Because, you get penalized for being a busy human.
And I think that's a fair criticism from last year. So to the people who criticized, I'm changing one thing. So there you go.
There you go.
That's your win. I get my win, and you get yours.
Dang. Everybody's a winner today.
Everybody's a winner. We're winners with executive producers like DCH, Dustin Mock, Brian Shaw, Jake Burdine, and Kevin Watterson.
Man, that we are. We're just blessed. We're like blessed with all of the executive producering that is in our lives.
Oh, and I'm giving an EP credit to this show, too, to Christopher Hart, because thanks to Christopher of the How Bizarre podcast, we have some awesome prizes for the Pick'em League.
Ooh.
He went, so Kenny Easley, who I interviewed over at Field Goals.
Yeah. Good job by you, by the way.
Hall of Famer Kenny Easley and I were talking. And he was
having a chat like you do with Kenny Easley, Brandon and Kenny Easley.
Just me and Kenny.
When Brandon interviewed Kenny Easley, his new best friend, Kenny Easley.
Right. And he was telling me.
So the interview with Kenny Easley, what happened after that?
He was telling me about his charity signing event. And so Christopher, since that was at his place of employment, he got the helmets there, got them signed not only by Mr. Kenny Easley, but another Seahawks Hall of Famer, Steve Largent. So it is a full-size Seahawks helmet with signatures from not one, but 2 Seahawks Hall of Famers. And that's going to be the grand prize for this year's Pick'em League.
Holy crap. A full-size helmet with signatures from Brandon's 2 best friends, Kenny Easley and Steve Largent.
Future best friend Steve Largent from the next time. I guess the first time that Steve and I talked was when I was 11 and I got his signature on his first touchdown card. So it's been a little while since we've talked, but.
Well, you guys are such great friends that you can go that sort of length of time without talking and just pick up right where you left off.
That's how it'll be.
Yeah, you and Steve. That's great. No, that's an awesome prize that's going to end up in my podcast Hobo Shack. Thanks for Christopher Hart for getting that for me.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
We got one big one, and then we got a mini helmet too. So
sweet. So I get 2 helmets. This is amazing.
I think you can only place once. But yes.
No. Those are mine now. I didn't know. Yeah. Your best friends gave them to me via Christopher.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will have a link in the show notes for those of you who are new to the show, new to the Pick'em League, want to get involved, want to get after that signed helmet as the grand prize for this year. And we'll have other prizes too. We're going to have weekly prizes. You know what? I might just wait till Better at Life to explain what weekly prizes I'm going to have.
Beautiful. I love it. That sounds great. Going to be another awesome year for the Pick'em. It's a good time. It's really fun. Everybody gets fired up about it. And yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. Year in, year out. You've really come up with awesome prizes for folks.
It is because of our members of the flock. GetInTheFlock.com if you want to become a member, help support the show, help support the Pick'em League. And I think, another thing, I'm going to have to send this out. So it might be too late by the time people are hearing this. But if you are already a member of the flock, I have 4 tickets to give away for the mock game that's coming up.
Sweet.
Unless you and I want to go to the mock game this weekend.
No.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. What day is it?
Sunday.
What time is it?
2:25.
I guess this is what I'm trying to weigh on whether or not I want to go to the mock game. So I went to Washington the last 3 weekends.
Yeah.
Right. I was supposed to go to Idaho this weekend, but the dude screwed up and then he had to cancel the job. So now I have this weekend off.
Oh.
And the next one that I had scheduled off because I had scheduled so many in a row. I had to schedule one off. And so that gives me 3 solid weeks to be here in the mountains, right?
Yeah.
And not have to drive to Washington for the 4th consecutive weekend.
Okay, well, you can think about it right now. You don't have to make a decision, but we will put it out. Those tickets, if they're available, we'll put it out to our members of the flock.
Okay, all right.
You don't have to make a decision right now. You don't have to decide right now.
I'm calling it. Nah, I'm good. You can give those away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll give them to Christopher for being an executive producer. And if he wants them.
EPs first? EPs get first crack?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I wanted to mention one of our other executive producers had a great comment in the Ring of Honor this week. Somebody had posted the article about Stafford hurting his thumb, and everybody was all a little giddy about it and making fun of Stafford, which is absolutely appropriate and what should be done there. With that first report that he was already hurt, I was like, okay, you're all right. He is injury prone, and this is just not going to work.
I do want to talk about this more, but there were some impressive Seans that we missed in the last episode. We got some comments on.
Okay.
Got some comments. One from Jerv, who said, cannot believe that you went through that famous Sean segment and didn't mention the late, great Sir Sean Connery. That's your era of James Bond, and Brandon is a Navy guy for Hunt for Red October. Anyways, great show, and hope we win the war of attrition, which is the NFC West, and come out with a Super Bowl win. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. Dude, that's a great point. Missing Sean Connery is a massive whiff. A massive whiff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our EP, Kevin, comes in and says, you can't have a list of incredible Seans and leave out one of the best to lace them up for the Supersonics, the Rain Man, Sean Kemp.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Yeah. That's another solid whiff.
Two big
Not
whiffs.
as big as Sean Connery. No. You know?
But in terms of Seattle legends.
Yes.
That's a whiff.
That's a good point. Yeah. Darn it.
I know.
I forgot about Sean Bradley, too. You know, the former NBA center.
Yeah, nobody cares about him.
Okay.
I mean, I remember the dude, but that's like some random Sean. That's like me thinking of
Space Jam. How dare you?
It's like me thinking of Sean Dunston, the baseball player.
Yeah, was Sean Dunston in Space Jam?
No,
he was not. Okay.
They had no baseball version of Space Jam.
Yeah, because you only do Space Jam once with Michael Jordan, and then you call it good.
I still haven't watched the new one.
Will not watch the new one.
I'll get there.
Yeah, you watch all that Disney stuff, though.
I have kids, man.
I will say, though, I make fun of you about all that often, and I've been a major holdout on any of the Star Wars things since Disney took over.
Yeah.
I did end up watching The Mandalorian.
That's a show you'd like, though, because it's like a space western.
It's exactly a space western. It's great. It was fantastic. I enjoyed it very much. Like, it was, 100%.
Yeah.
Space cowboys? Hell yes.
They nail it with the pacing of,
yes,
in terms of it being very much like a western.
The music, all of it. It works.
Another show you have to watch if you haven't yet, Ted Lasso.
Really?
Oh my gosh. I was a holdout on that show, and I've had enough people say how awesome that show is that I finally got to it. Even though it's about soccer, it's not really about soccer. It's just an awesome show.
Okay. Good to know, because I was like, that's about soccer, so clearly I won't care.
No, you'll like it.
Cool. Okay. I need to, this is a little off topic, but, just alternate sports, right? Like, I need to find me a Kraken hat.
Next Seattle trip, we'll be out there. We can go to the Seattle team store, and they'll have Kraken hats.
They'll have Kraken stuff. We'll be Kraken in there. Yeah. I need a Kraken hat. That's what I decided. Because my current hat is not a sports hat, and it should be retired to just nasty outdoor jobs hat. I shouldn't wear that in public anymore, and I still am, which is a problem. So I need to. This is kind of an emergency, really, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, so maybe sooner than later.
Yeah,
maybe we do need to go out to the mock game.
Oh, so this is how you're selling that. Okay.
You need a new hat,
take away those tickets from the little flockers after you put them out there.
Maybe.
It's terrible.
No, they're probably getting them.
Okay.
On to do better and better at life.
All right, man. My do better this week is for former ESPN head honcho, John Skipper.
Who?
He got on a podcast. John Skipper. Skipper. You know Skipper. Everybody knows who Skipper is.
Nope.
Yeah. He's kind of a big deal, actually. Like, when he was head of the ESPN, like, they kind of called him the king of sports, you know? Like, you had to go through John Skipper when it came to all of the broadcasting rights and, like, all that. Like, he was the big dog of big dogs. The Skipper. How do you not know the Skip?
When I think of Skipper, I think of the Mariners manager is always called the Skipper.
I think that's all managers.
Is it?
It's called, yeah.
I thought it was Mariners because they're boatsmen.
I thought you would think of Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, that too.
The professor and the Skipper too.
Yeah.
John Skipper from ESPN, I don't know what he was thinking here, but this should have never come out of his mouth, and I'm angry that it even did. So they're talking about, well, what's the future of these, major sports and broadcasting? Like, do you see it going to online platforms?
That was that guy?
Like, yeah. Do you see it going here? Do you see it going there? Like, what do you think? And like, he's kind of having an existential conversation about it. Oh, I think it's all going to go to ESPN Plus and Paramount Plus and your mom plus and plus, right? And then he's like, and I could see a day that the Super Bowl is a pay-per-view event. You shut your dirty whore mouth, John Skipper. Don't you put that juju on me, Ricky Bobby. Like, you can't do that. You can't put that juju out in the universe and try to make the Super Bowl a pay-per-view event. That is blasphemy. Do not even put that out there into existence. That thought, all right? Like, that should have been kept in John Skipper's little pea brain. And for saying that the Super Bowl should be a pay-per-view event, John Skipper, do better.
When I just saw the headline, I guess I took it as, well, it could be one day.
No, don't do that.
No.
Then what's next? The championship games are pay-per-view, then the entire playoffs, and then the second half of the regular season. Now you need League Pass to just view anything.
Do I get to pick my announcers?
Oh, I don't know, but I think you're going to start to. I mean, because you heard about the Peyton and Eli thing, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think that we're going to start to have options. And so if it's pay-per-view to where you get to pick who's calling the game.
Yeah.
I might be in.
I don't know why they haven't done this sooner.
They've tried it a little bit when they've done some with Amazon where they had alternate broadcasters.
Okay. I'm fired up for the Peyton and Eli thing.
That'll be cool.
I think it's going to be cool. I think I'm going to learn something.
I think maybe the NFL's starting to recognize that fans don't always just want, they don't want the same cookie cutter approach for the announcing. Because you got, and maybe it started with Tony Romo a little bit with the way he is, because he's always so excited about it. And then you have Aqib Talib, who I think is super entertaining to listen to in the broadcasts. And I feel like they've gotten enough reaction from people to go, okay, well, maybe we can start trying a few things.
Maybe it will open itself up in a way that we could literally do our own stream of the game. People have asked about it.
They have. And I mean, it's possible. It's just that when the game is on, I kind of want to watch the game.
There's that. And a lot of times when the game is on, I'm at work.
And I'm not doing it by myself.
No, and you don't want me to do it from the mill. It's noisy.
Yeah. My do better this week is for anyone praising Matt Stafford for, quote, fighting through an injury so he could practice this week. We talked about it. Matt Stafford banged his hand on a player's helmet in practice. And let's not gloss over the fact that he somehow manages to hit another player's helmet when they're not even rushing the passer at this point in training camp.
Yeah.
He's so injury prone that he's 1 week into Rams training camp and he's already whacking his thumb on teammates' helmets for absolutely no reason. And apparently this injury was so minor, his coach called it a good contusion, which we know is another word for a minor bruise.
Is that like a new band name?
Good contusion.
Good contusion.
Good contusions.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Good contusions with their smash hit. It's really purple.
But the thing is, a good contusion's minor bruise. And as a parent, I call that an owie. Okay. And not even the kind of owie that you put a Band-Aid on, even when it's not bleeding to make it feel better. It's the kind that you kiss it and to make it feel better, and it actually works. Like that's
your mommy kisses it.
That's how I'll do it too. I don't care. I have daughters. I'll kiss owies.
Yeah, I know. But for Matt Stafford, he needed his mommy. Does his mommy like run off of the sideline and kiss it to make it all better?
I think he rubs it in Sean McVay's hair gel, and then it feels better.
There you go. It has healing properties. Who knew?
So great job, tough guy, Matt Stafford. Anyone giving this guy credit for practicing through an owie? Do better.
He practically took his thumb that had been severed in 3 pieces by his teammate's chin strap and sewed it back together with his teeth and put it back on his hand and then played through it. Brandon, how dare you? How dare you go after Matt Stafford's toughness?
He's practically like Ronnie Lott. Just cut the thumb off. I'll throw the football with 4 fingers.
I'll shot put it from now on. Yeah,
I am not missing a practice.
Matt Tough Guy Owie Stafford.
There you go.
Yeah.
So much, and I hear so much credit. That look how tough Matt Stafford is.
He's a gamer.
He was supposed to get some days off, but he got no days off because he's that much of a tough guy.
Get no days off and like it with his boo-boo thumb.
On to Better at Life.
All right, man. My Better at Life this week is for little flocker Leo. He was listening to the last podcast and heard me lament about my lack of AC off grid.
Mm-hmm.
And not only did he take that to heart, but like did a little research, like sent me a nice message, and even had a handwritten diagram of a potential cooler for the cabin that requires very little energy.
Whoa.
It's very smart. It was much like a swamp cooler, but used charcoal as the wetting medium, basically. And I'll have to do a little research to see why that might be an advantage over the stuff you use on the sides of the swamp coolers. But it was a really cool idea. And he took some time, like figuring it out. And I just wanted to thank him for thinking about my well-being here in Montana off grid, and for basically coming up with a pretty MacGyver way to possibly cool the cabin. Leo, better at life than Skip Bayless.
Man, knows how to get the job done.
It used like fencing wire, barbecue,
it doesn't matter.
Things.
Nobody's out there to look at your property. You just
no, that's not the point. I'm saying I respect that.
Yeah.
I mean, like you just whatever's on hand.
It doesn't have to look pretty. Awesome. It just has to work.
Absolutely. That's my entire motto in life.
Sure.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be pretty. It just needs to work.
That's not a bad motto to live by.
Except for Brittany. She's got to be pretty.
She doesn't have to be. She just is.
And she has to work. Otherwise, I won't give her shoes back.
My Better at Life this week is for Lauren Taylor. And for those of you who don't know who Lauren Taylor is, you can go to LaurenTaylorIllustrations.com, because she has some awesome artwork that is going to be part of the Pick'em League this year. And I found out about Lauren Taylor's art because she made a super cool Ken Griffey Jr. card for this Project 70 thing that that Topps is doing for baseball this year. And they're having artists design all these cards. She did an amazing Ken Griffey Jr. card. And also on her site, I found out that she did Seahawks art. And so I got some of those for weekly Pick'em prizes. I ordered them up on the website. And not only did she send the artwork that I asked for, she threw in an extra Marshawn Lynch art print. And she threw in another print of Tom Hanks from the baseball movie.
From A League of Their Own?
A League of Their Own, yes. Remember when he's
is he taking the incredibly long pee, or is he? What is Tom Hanks doing in the in the League of Their Own drawing.
Well, you remember how
is he talking about not crying?
No, it's after that. It's where because Evelyn could never hit the cutoff man.
Right.
And that's where he starts yelling at her and then she starts crying.
Right.
And this is the moment after that to where he's so upset with her, but he's restraining himself. And so he's like, like got the clenched fists, and it's from that moment of the movie.
It's a solid moment in the movie. It could have also been him and Gina Davis, spitting into the spittoon at the same time. That was pretty good.
It's a good movie.
Yeah. Oh, that's classic. I might have to watch that tonight if I don't watch Ted Lasso, apparently.
Yeah. Well, watch Ted Lasso. Also watch A League of Their Own. You won't go to sleep with a frown.
Perfect.
So to Lauren Taylor for helping provide some artwork for this year's Pick'em League and providing a little bit of extra artwork as well. Better at life than Skip Bayless.
Yeah. Well, that was a fun show.
And with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
go Hawks.
Go Hawks.